Lesson 10, I will multiply 3 and 4-digit numbers applying the standard algorithm. So we started transitioning in Lesson 9 away from partial products to the standard algorithm. Now there's nothing wrong with using partial products to multiply. The only reason why we use the standard algorithm is because it's a little bit more efficient. So that's what we're going to practice in this lesson. So let's go ahead and get out your problem set, write your name, and then you'll notice that the directions say solve using the standard algorithm. So our first step here is going to be to rewrite this problem, and we're going to rewrite it vertically. It's always a good idea to write the larger number on top. When you try to use standard algorithm and you do the smaller number on top, it gets pretty confusing. So let's not do it that way. Let's put the large number on top, and then let's multiply 42 times 3. So we're still going to multiply 2 ones times 3, which is 6 ones, so I'm going to put it in the ones place. And then I'm going to do 4 tens times 3, which is 12 tens. So 12 tens is 100 and 2 tens. So instead of writing 120 down here and adding it together, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the tens and the hundreds place so that I can solve the problem more efficiently. All right, let's go ahead and do one more together that requires a little bit of regrouping or bundling. So this time we're going to do 42 times 6. So 2 ones times 6 is 12 ones. So if I were using partial products, I would go ahead and write 12 here. But because I'm using standard algorithm, I'm going to put the 2 in the ones place, and I'm going to carry the 10 to add when I get ready to multiply in just a second. So now I'm going to do 4 tens times 6, which is 24 tens, plus this 1 10, which makes 25 tens. So I'm going to put 25 in the hundreds and the tens place. So that's 2 hundreds and 5 tens are 25 tens, which gives me 252. Now, if you feel pretty confident with standard algorithm and you want to go ahead and do the next two problems by yourself, go ahead. If you'd like to do 431 times 6 with me, then go ahead and follow along with me. If you think you can do it by yourself, go ahead and pause the video and try it by yourself and then check your answer. All right, so I've got 431 times 6. So I've got 1 times 6, which is 6 ones. Now I have 3 tens times 6, which is 18 tens. So I'm going to carry a 10. Remember, a 10 tens makes 100. So I'm going to move that 100 to the hundreds place and put my 8 here. So here's my 18 tens. Now I have 4 hundreds times 6, which is 24 hundreds, plus this 1 makes 25 hundreds. So now I've got 25 hundredths plus my 86 is 2,586. Okay? So if you feel like you're ready to try to do D all by yourself, go ahead and pause the video and try to do this one by yourself. If you'd like to do one more with me, then let's go ahead and do one more together. But I will tell you that this one's pretty easy. I think you can do it by yourself. But if you'd like to do it with me, we'll do it together. All right, so we've got 1 times 3, which is 3 ones. 3 tens times 3, which is 9 tens. And then 4 hundreds times 3, which is 12 hundreds. So I told you this one was pretty easy. It had no bundling over to the next place, just at the very end, and we just put it over here. So we have 1,293. Now, if you haven't tried to do any problems by yourself, I want you to try to do E by yourself. I'm going to pause the video, and we're going to try to work this one out all by ourselves, and let's see if we get the same answer. Okay, so we've got 6,213 times 3. So 2 ones times 3 is 6 ones. 1 10 times 3 is 3 tens. 2 hundreds times 3 is 6 hundreds. And then 6 thousands times 3 is 18 thousands. So again, another easy one that had no regrouping. All right, let's try this one. So now I have 3,106 times 3. I want you to try to do this one all by yourself, and then we'll come back and check together. Okay, so we have 6 ones times 3, which gives us 18 ones. And you can see I carried the 10 ones to the tens place. So here's my 18. Now I have 0 tens times 3, which is 0, plus this 1 10 gives me 1. Now some kids really have a hard time with this, and they'll say 0 times 3 is 3 plus 1. Well, 0 times 3 is not 3, it's 0. Because you can see in the next column, 100 times 3 is 3. So I have 3 hundredths, and then 3 thousandths times 3 is 9 thousandths. Okay? Now, I'd like for you to try G and H by yourself, and then we're going to come back and we're going to check together. Okay, so let's take a look at G. So I have 9 ones times 4, which gives me 36. 0 tens times 4 is 0, plus these 3 tens gives me 3. 3 hundredths times 4 gives me 12 hundredths. 4 thousandths times 6 gives me 16 thousandths, plus this thousand gives me 17,000. So I have 17,236. For H, 8 ones times 4 gives me 32 ones. And then I have 110 times 4, which is 4 tens, plus these 3 tens gives me 7 tens. Then I had 6 hundredths times 4, which gives me 24 hundredths. Then I had 8 thousandths times 4, which gives me 32 thousandths, plus these 2 more thousandths is going to give me 34 thousandths. So I end up with 34,472. So it's kind of a lot of thinking at the same time, but as you can see, once you get good at it, you can multiply really big numbers pretty quickly. All right, so let's try some application problems here. So we're going to be reading, we're going to be drawing, we're going to be writing a number sentence, and we're going to be writing a word sentence. So let's begin by reading. There are 365 days in a common year. How many days are in 3 common years? So first of all, let's talk about what they mean by common year. So if you'll think back to what you know about years, there's something called a leap year, right? And in a leap year, we add an extra day to February. So in a leap year, there's not 365 days, there's 366 days. So what they're saying is all 3 of these years are common years, so none of these years are leap years. So if we have 3 of them, let's go ahead and draw our tape diagram. And since we are talking about 3 years, I'm going to divide my tape diagram into 3 parts. Each of these parts is going to equal 365. It's asking for how many days there are in all, so this is going to be what I'm trying to figure out, and I'm going to use D for days. So I can add 365 3 times, or I can use standard multiplication, and I can do 365 times 3. I'd like for you to go ahead and finish this number sentence because we've already read, we've already drawn, now we wrote our number sentence. I want you to solve this number sentence, and then I want you to answer that question with a statement so that we'll have all of our RDWW. Let's come back and check together. Okay, so let's start right here with our number sentence. So I did 365 times 3. Well, 5 ones times 3 is 15 ones. 6 tens times 3 is 18 tens plus 1 more 10 makes 19 tens. 3 hundredths times 3 gives me 9 hundredths plus 1 more makes 10 hundredths. So I went ahead and answered the question, how many days are in 3 common years? There are 1,095 days in 3 common years. Let's take a look at problem number 3. All right, so again, we're going to read, we're going to draw, we're going to write a number sentence, and we're going to write a word sentence. The length of one side of a city square block is 462 meters. What is the perimeter of the block? So this time, instead of drawing a tape diagram, I'm going to draw a rectangle to represent a city block. So it said that the length of one side is 462 meters. So my first thought is, hold on a minute, this can't be right, but look at what it says. It says that it is a square. So I'm going to have to go back and adjust my picture here. I didn't read it carefully. I'm going to change this rectangle into a square. And now I'm going to have to think back to what do I know about a square? Well, I know that what makes a square is that all 4 sides are the same. So I could do 462 plus 462 plus 462 plus 462. But I think a much more efficient way to solve this problem would be to do 462 times 4. I want you to go ahead and finish this problem. We read, we drew, we wrote a number sentence. I want you to solve the number sentence, and then I want you to write your answer as a statement, and then we'll come back and check together. Okay, so let's take a look at our number sentence here. All right, so we had 2 ones times 4, which gave us 8 ones, 6 tens times 4, which gave us 24 tens, 4 hundreds times 4, which gave us 16 hundreds, plus 2 more, which is 18 hundredths. So I had 1,848. So now I went back to answer this question. What is the perimeter of the block? The perimeter of the block is 1,848 meters. Okay, now we're back to our last problem. It says, when we read the problem, it says, Jake ran 2 miles. Jesse ran 4 times as far. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. How many feet did Jesse run? All right, so when I get ready to draw my picture here, I hear some comparison words. I'm hearing that we're comparing how far Jake ran to how far Jesse ran. So I'm going to go ahead and use 2 tape diagrams. You could use 1 tape diagram, but I'm going to do 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I know that Jake ran 2 miles, so I'm going to go ahead and draw this tape diagram, and I'm going to put 2 to represent 2 miles. Now it said that Jesse ran 4 times as far, so I'm going to make his tape diagram larger, and I'm actually going to make it 4 boxes. And in each of these boxes, I'm going to have 2 miles. 2 miles, 2 miles, 2 miles, 2 miles. So I want to know not how many miles did Jesse run, I want to know how many feet. So first of all, how many miles did Jesse run? Well, he ran 8 miles. So if each of these miles is 5,280 feet, how do you think I'm going to figure out how many feet that is? Well, when I get ready to write my number sentence, I'm going to write 5,280 8 times. I'd like for you to go ahead and solve this number sentence, and then I want you to write your answer as a statement. Okay, so we have 0 ones times 8, which gives me 0. 8 tens times 8, which gives me 64 tens. 2 hundreds times 8, which gives me 16 hundreds, plus these 6 hundreds gave me 22 hundreds. 5 thousands times 8 is 40 thousands, plus these 2 thousands is 42 thousands. So I have 42,240. So how many feet did Jesse run? Jesse ran 42,240 feet. So we spent this whole lesson working on using the standard multiplication algorithm. So as you begin to practice, it's going to become easier and easier. So if you don't understand how to do it yet, don't give up. Keep practicing.